How does money play in this? How do you try to tell people to understand money and how it controls us? Because besides fear of health, it's probably the things most people are scared of.
This is a big one. So, you want to control the population. In other words, you want to take their freedom away. So, what is freedom in one sense? Freedom is choice. The more choices you can make, the freer you are. The fewer choices you can make, the less free you are. And in the way that this cult has systematically structured global society, the vast number of choices that you would like to make are limited by lack of money, whether you have it or whether you don't have it. So in the end, control of money's prime objective is control of people via control of choice. And by controlling choice, you control freedom. So with a basic income, you are in effect completely controlling choice, because you can choose not to have the basic income, but where else are you going to feed your family? And if you have it, then we're going to tell you what your choices are, and it's to do what we say. And this great reset, touted by psychopaths like Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum, is fundamentally about changing global finance to create a single world currency that will be digital. There will be no cash, which means every transaction is trackable, etc., etc. That's the idea. The way they work is something you might call creative destruction. So what they want to do is want to crash the world economy. Been talking about this for a long, long time. They want to crash the world economy. If you look at what's happened in the COVID era, because so many things have happened, you see, it's not just the virus and the vaccine, fake vaccine, there's lots of other things that come out of this. They have holed under the waterline the global economy. It's almost, not for a lot of people, but for quite a number of people, it's basically we're in the phony war. Or even a better analogy, the ship's been hit by the missile under the waterline, but ain't quite started sinking yet to the extent that you can see it, although you're beginning to. The outcome, this Hunger Games society, the global structure would be a world government dictating to every community in the world, not least through technology, and the end of countries. The European Union is part of all this. And so what they've been doing in this COVID era is getting governments to utterly bankrupt themselves by this, you're homeless, you're hungry, oh, we haven't got the money for that, we can't do anything about that, we got no money. COVID, how much do you bloody want? Money's been handed out like confetti. Unbelievable amounts of money. I read an article, I was staggered, I had to read it twice, a couple of days ago, that was saying that 80% of the dollars in circulation have been put into circulation in the last 2 bloody years.
Yeah, I think that's true.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So this has been done systematically, because although they may, go about their business, these countries are now utterly bankrupt. But they've done something else. They have put so much fake money created out of nothing into circulation that inflation is going through the roof, and it's not really come through yet to the extent that it's going to. And inflation is a long-winded way of saying the prices are going to go up of everything. It's unbelievable, some of the price rises in America already because of this great infusion of bloody money this moronic man Biden has put in. Well, not him, his handlers. Also, they have systematically broken down the supply chain. And I say systematically because slow everything down. Why would they do that? Because the supply chain delays add to the inflation, price rises, because the scarcity drives the price up. So everything is going up. I mean, you know, people on low incomes I don't know how they cope. They probably don't, because of what's happening now.
A form of control.
This is where it's planned to go. And we're coming back to one of the great global centers of operation of this cult, China. And I mentioned earlier, everything connects in the end, that you've got this web of secret societies, this cult. And they control and own the United States government as they control and own the Chinese government. So, and they own the American corporations, they own Silicon Valley, they own the World Health Organization, they own the big pharma cartel, they own the regulators of government that's supposed to regulate the big pharma cartel, but don't. They give them everything they want, because the same cult owns it all, right? This is how it works. So decisions have been made by American corporations and corporations in Europe and around the world, Western world particularly, and by the American government, to outsource production where? To China. China as over the decades since the war, has become the dominant source of production for so much. Do you know something like 80-90% of antibiotics in America start out life in China? So much of American goods and services, what they need to run society, now comes out of China. So you've handed China control of the world economy. You certainly handed China control of the supply chain, because if that stops, then what are you going to do? So you are looking at a situation where they have held the economy under the waterline, and it's going to become more and more obvious, and they want to wind it up to the point where there is total global economic chaos. That's what they want. Creative destruction, destroying the status quo. They want people to blame their individual government for the chaos, because this cult, in its various guises, they want to be able to come forward, this is in their own documents, as the saviors. The world is in this terrible state, and you're in this economic turmoil and desperation and deprivation. We can sort it out. What we're going to do is we're going to forgive all the debt that you have, but in return, we want all of your assets. We want your home, we want everything. And this is the Klaus Schwab line: you will own nothing but be happy, in effect, right? You will own nothing. They want to bring an end to private property. Private property gives you what? It gives you some sort of stability. It gives you some sort of independence. They don't want people having independence. They want people under dependency. So the move is to replace private property with everyone renting. Why are these massive global operations? Is it BlackRock? And these big conglomerates, even Lloyd's now in this country, why are they buying up fantastic amounts of property? Whole neighborhoods of property. And what do they say they're going to do with it? Rent it out. And what that's doing, as they do it, it's driving up property prices in America, because they're buying them in great numbers. And it's taking private property out of circulation more and more and more. And as people fall into this economic nosedive, suddenly they're not going to be able to pay their mortgage anymore. So they're going to lose the property.